I debated whether or not to include the Seventh Seal in this retrospective for reasons I'll get into in a moment. And this will, in fact, be a fairly short video. But the reason I had reservations is that The Seventh Seal has not been a terribly influential film certainly not on my life, and not really all that much on my filmmaking. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt that I really did have to include it, because even though it has not been terribly influential in my adult work, it was very influential very early on. And I think at that level, to the extent that helped to form my later experiences, it is important. Now, the reason that I have reservations about including it is that the thematic seriousness of the movie just is not me. However, I'm not criticizing Bergman for being pretentious, as is often leveled against him. But what I am saying is that as an adolescent, the heaviness and seriousness of The Seventh Seal was definitely something that impressed me and which I tried to duplicate. But by the time I was at an age where I really could understand the kind of thing he was saying, I had more or less moved past him. And so while I can continue to acknowledge his mastery, even occasionally enjoy watching one of his films, that's about as far as it goes. I didn't get that much from him as a filmmaker, with one exception, and that is the expressionism that The Seventh Seal is an example of, and Cries and Whispers, another of my favorite Bergman films. Now, Bergman didn't always use the expressionist method, but both of those films, they very definitely rely on that kind of stylization. And although I don't use expressionism all that much, and to the extent I do, I guess it would probably be restricted to horror and thrillers. Still, as an example of the kind of thing you can do by using such techniques, it continues to be a potential, shall we say, for me. Now, why do I even bother to mention all this if I kind of grew past him? Because I would say the one lasting influence that I got from Bergman was a commitment to the art film, capital A, art film. And for those of you who don't know film history, Bergman, Federico Fellini, and Michelangelo Antonioni were once considered the big three of serious artistic filmmaking. And certainly at the time that I was exposed to The Seventh Seal, his reputation was at its peak. All three of them probably are not taken as seriously as they used to be, but still, that legacy is there. And it was through them that I first became exposed to the European art film, however you want to express it. And that model continues to be in the back of my mind in most of my work, because I still believe that it's been the most productive and important use of the film medium, which is not meant to say that it's impossible to do good work elsewhere, but that remains the model that I work from. So after this brief discussion of The Seventh Seal, maybe you have an idea of where my commitment to that kind of film comes from.